Last night, Hiroki Kuroda was outstanding for the Yankees. Everything was moving. He was throwing strikes. He was playing defense. He just got the job done with 7 strong innings. And this held up. A 2-run home run by Eric Chavez. Yankee bullpen did its job. Obviously, David Robertson struck out the side. Then Mariano came in the 9th and got Nick Markakis to bang into a 6-4-3 game-ending double play. Rivera likes it, and the Yankees will try to make it 2 in a row against the Orioles at the stadium tonight. As the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Baltimore Orioles in the middle game of a 3-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball. Along with Ken Singleton, I am Michael K. So the Yankees win that game yesterday, 2-1. Great pitching. They hope for more of the same tonight. Let's take a look at the pitching matchup in this game, brought to you by the New York Lottery. Brian Mattis, who he hasn't won in a long time. The lefty, 0-3, 5.66. Phil Hughes for the Yankees, 1-3, 7.88. And Kenny, it's time for Phil Hughes to start realizing some of his potential.
Yeah, when you're carrying around an ERA of 7.88, you're trying to knock that down and knock it down quickly. One thing he has done, he's kind of struggled with his control. Fastballs here against the Minnesota Twins, he won that ball game, but his other games he struggled, including his last start in Texas. Texas Rangers, one of the better hitting teams in baseball. When you make mistakes, they capitalize. Home run by Adrian Beltre, kind of a blue double by Ian Kinsler. Here's another hanging breaking ball to Michael Young, and Phil Hughes came away a loser against the Texas Rangers down in Texas.
Look at his starts, Kenny. Obviously, he's averaging about 4 innings a start. That's not good enough. Last time out, didn't even get out of the 3rd inning against the Rangers. He must improve. He says he's going to be more aggressive on the mound tonight against the Orioles. Well, Phil Hughes, one of a couple of Yankee starters that haven't been great for Joe Girardi, but still, April was a pretty good month. 13-9, some big moments, some highlights. Kenny Singleton will break it down for us in just a moment when we return on Yes. What the Yankees did in April, 13-9 record. Derek Jeter had a great month, 37 home runs. That's the most in the major leagues, and Granderson leads the team with 8. The starters not too good, the bullpen great. Pineda is out for the season. Pettit is expected shortly. Well, you know us. That's Ken Singleton. I'm Michael K. All in all, when you look at the way the starters have pitched or how they've pitched poorly, 13-9 is not too bad. Not too bad because the fact is the bullpen's been great. So when the Yankees have had the lead late in ball games, they've been able to hold on to the lead. The starters are starting to pick up the pace. We've seen CC Sabathia start to come around, and maybe some of the others as well. You can see Ivan Nova, although his ERA is high, he's 3-0. So he's been actually able to win games despite the fact maybe not pitching his best. Derek Jeter, how can you get much better than this? 37 hits in April, and then the home runs. The home runs for the Yankees, that's expected. They led the league in home runs last year. Now, they'd like to get a little bit more clutch hitting, not leave so many runners on base. But again, 13-9, not too bad when the team is still trying to define itself. And you don't know when you're going to get Andy Pettit back. It should be soon. Phil Hughes knows when Andy Pettit's coming back. He has a feeling he has to pitch well tonight. Lineups, first pitch, baseball, next on Yes. Yanez is brought to you in part by Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the New York Yankees, by J&R Music and Computer World, and by the professionals in your Tri-State GMC dealer. Why just go when you can go pro? Take a look now at the Oriole lineup that is going to face Phil Hughes. Orioles are 14-9. They lead off their left fielder, Andy Chavez. J.J. Hardy is next. Nick Markakis. The middle three, Adam Jones, Matt Wieters, and Chris Davis. And the bottom three, Wilson Betemit at third. Nick Johnson, the DH, looking for his first hit of the year. Robert Andino, the second baseman, will bat ninth. Chavez is ready. So is Hughes. Let's do it. Here in the Bronx, the first pitch is a strike. And we are underway.
Here are the numbers on Phil Hughes on the season, and he's going to work on that earned run average. 4 starts, 1 and 3, 7.88, 329. That's what the hitters are hitting against him. Let's check out their scouting report on Phil Hughes. Do it pretty quickly here. It looks like he's working pretty quickly. They say he's pitching for his spot in the rotation with Andy Pettitte on the horizon. But one thing before we do that, you have to remember that Phil Hughes is kind of a slow starter. In his career, he's 4-9 in April. The rest of the months of the season, he is 33-17. So before you kick him out of the rotation, remember what he's done in the past. Right-handed batters have hit him pretty well this year. 357.
Fouled it off to stay alive. 1-2. So Chavez playing left. Nolan Reinbold was sent back to Baltimore for some test on his back.
Yeah.
Could be a tough break for the Orioles. He's been playing very well. He had a 14-game hitting streak snap last night. A 1-2.
Now the report has it that Reinbold has a bulging disc. Now he's been bothered by some neck problems, neck spasms, and he missed some ball games. And he had fit very well into the leadoff spot for Buck Showalter. But now he has to go to Andy Chavez, the former Met.
1-2. And this has been a problem for Hughes and why his pitch count gets up there. He can't put people away on 2 strikes. He averages 21.1 pitches per inning, and that's the second most in the major leagues, behind Kansas City's Jonathan Sanchez at 22.3. Well, you do the math, 21 pitches an inning, you're at 100 after 5. Check swing. And the third base umpire, Jerry Lane, said he did not go.
It's almost as if his fastball is good, but it's not quite good enough to have the swing and a miss. He gets a lot of foul balls, and that way that he bats continue. Now, a couple of years ago, when he won 18 games, he seemed to be able to miss bats on that third strike, and the hitters were headed back to the dugout.
2-2. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Let's check out the Yankee defense behind Phil Hughes, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. In the outfield, Nunez gets his second start in left. Then there's Granderson and Andrew Jones. Infield, A-Rod, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira third to first. Chris Stewart behind the plate with Russell Martin as the DH tonight. And Phil Hughes is on the mound. Here's J.J. Hardy.
Here's a look at the strikeout pitch, and after all the fastballs, finally he goes to curve, and it's not even a strike. But Chavez is completely fooled. You know, one thing I've noticed about Phil Hughes, and Michael, you and I were texting, he's working a lot more quickly tonight than he was in Texas. He's attacking.
That one's fouled away. His fastball at 94. He had said he'd watched some tape of himself pitching out of the bullpen in 2009. People forget he was one of the reasons the Yankees were able to get to the playoffs and win that World Series. And he is going to be more aggressive and in attack mode on the mound. Ground ball, right side, backhanded by Teixeira, flips to Hughes, 2 outs.
Well, there's the first good play from Mark Teixeira during the night. Usually we see at least one. We saw him snag a line drive last night. Tonight he closes the hole on the right side of the infield. Accurate flip to Phil Hughes. He almost makes it look too easy. It's like you take him for granted over at first base. You see some of the other teams around the league that don't have first baseman quite as accomplished as Mark Teixeira, and they can make playing first base an adventure. He makes it a joy to watch.
Here's Nick Markakis, ended the game with a 6-4-3 double play last night. Yankees won that game 2-1. Markakis fouls it away.
You see that 2 home runs for Markakis on the season. Hit one on opening day, his first at bat of the season. Hit one in game 2. And so far that's it.
0-2. Has good numbers against Phil Hughes, 10 for 29. And the 0-2. High fastball checks. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. 69 degrees, humidity 56%. Not much wind, and we've got clearing skies. It did rain in the morning in New York City. Hammered foul.
That was a good sharp breaking ball. We saw some of the breaking balls that Phil Hughes threw in Texas. They were kind of rollers. This one had a lot more bite to it. A lot more 12-6, straight down. Markakis out in front after seeing all those fastballs.
The 1-2. Served into left field. Nunez will have the plate on a hop. So Markakis picks up a single.
One thing Markakis is able to do, and when he gets 2 strikes, he has the ability to hit the ball the other way. You know, cut down on his swing unless you really make a mistake, then he'll pull it. But this is a fastball almost right down the middle. He's late, but still able to serve it into left field for a base hit in front of Nunez.
Adam Jones, 9-game hitting streak for Adam, 13 for 33 during that time. He's hitting .333 on the young season. Consistently at 94, but deals outside. The 1-0. Ooh. A good piece of Stewart. 1-1.
Stewart probably worried about the run at first. And that, man, direct hit. One thing, the Orioles do not run much, so that, oh my goodness. Another reason why you don't want to be a catcher. Talking about the Orioles and their running. They've had 6 stolen bases on the year. That's tied for the fewest in the league. They've been thrown out 7 times. So that's not a good percentage. I mentioned they had 6 stolen bases. The man at the plate has 4 of those.
.95 miles an hour. He is really being aggressive and pounding the zone.
But as Michael, you said, once he's gotten 2 strikes, sometimes at bats continue because hitters foul pitches off. Good high fastball might do it again here. Just around the letter, see if Jones will chase it. Yep, he did.
That one is hit deep to right center, drifting back. Granderson on the track at the wall. He makes the play. So Adam Jones gave it a ride. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. Orioles, nothing, and the New York Yankees coming to bat. Yankee starting lineup presented by Lexus. The captain, the shortstop, Derek Jeter will lead off. Batting second and playing center field, Curtis Granderson. Alex Rodriguez at third base, bats third. Cleaning up second baseman, Robinson Cano. Mark Teixeira's at first base, he'll bat fifth. Batting sixth and playing right field, Andrew Jones. Russell Martin DHs today, he'll bat seventh. Batting eighth, playing left field, Eduardo Nunez. And Chris Stewart, the start behind the plate, will bat ninth.
Brian Mattis in his career against the New York Yankees is 2-5. And just 25 years old, left-hander, former #1 draft pick of the Orioles out of University of San Diego. These are his numbers on the year. 4 starts, 0-3. 14 strikeouts, 13 walks. It's way too many walks in 20 2/3 innings. The opponent's hitting .306. Let's check out our pitcher scouting report on young Mr. Mattis. And the Dirty Dozen. It has been 12. His last 12 decisions have been losses going back to last June. But his last start was against the Toronto Blue Jays in Baltimore, and he pitched 6 shutout innings and actually worked pretty well. He didn't get the decision as the Orioles went on to beat the Toronto Blue Jays. And left-hand batters, this is why Joe Girardi has as many righties in the lineup as he can, because lefties are only hitting .154 against Brian Mattis.
So Jeter will start it off. 3 hits in his last 14 at-bats. And there's a strike.
See Derek's average at .389. One of the reasons it's that high because he has worn out left-handed pitching. Best batting average against lefties in the major leagues.
.567, 17 for 30 against lefties. Also has 37 hits in the month of April. That led the majors. And it was only the 3rd calendar month of his career in which he led the majors outright in hits. The 2 previous months were both in 1998, 44 hits in May and 50 hits in August. They look at Mattis and they can't believe that he has struggled the way he struggled, because his stuff would dictate that he should be better. Left-hander, throws hard. Shouldn't be winless. 12 straight decisions. Driven deep to left field. Chavez will make the play. Why don't we take a look at the Orioles defense, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. We've seen Chavez, so we'll start there. Adam Jones in center, Nick Markakis in right. Infield, Bettamy, Hardy, Andino, and Davis third to first. Leaders behind the plate, and Mattis is on the mound.
Yeah, Buck Showalter's looking for Mattis to turn it around. I mean, since June 12th, he's lost his last 12 decisions. But prior to that, he had won 7 in a row, and they thought he was the goods.
In order for the Orioles to ever take the next step as an organization, they've got to produce their own pitching, because they're loath to spend the money that you need to spend to get a pitcher on the free agent market. So either they develop their own or they will continue to flounder. And sometimes they don't even keep their own. They didn't even keep Mike Messina. The 2-1. Their owner, Peter Angelos, is very big on examining pitchers before he signs them to free agent deals. And if you take an x-ray of any pitcher who's 28 years old, that arm's not going to look great. That one is drilled deep to right field. There it goes. See ya. A monster home run by Curtis Granderson. And the Yankees lead 1-0.
Described it correctly. When this ball was hit, it was going to far away places. 8 of his 9 home runs here at Yankee Stadium. My goodness, was that ball hit.
Here's Alex. What do you think, Kenny? They got the facing of the third deck?
You know, I've gotten to the point in my life where certain things get too far away and I can't see them, you know, accurately.
Ooh. I think it hit off the, they call a ribbon board. Changes the ads on there. That one is scooped into right and over the glove of Davis for a base hit. So, boy, you can't have two more distinctly different hits than that. And Alex picks up a single.
The target's in, and so is the pitch, and not really hit well around the label of the bat, but he dunks it, just gets it by Chris Davis at first. Look at the outstretched glove, maybe about 6 inches from being caught. That is on our Yesmo. And Alex is on with 1 down.
Here's Cano.
You know, one thing that's happened this inning that has happened in the previous 12 losses for Mattis, he's never had a 1-2-3 inning, first inning, in any of those losses. So even if he had a good warm-up in the bullpen, he doesn't carry it over to the start of the ball game. Yeah, Michael, we were talking about in our open about the Yankees had a decent month of April, 13-9, which is okay. They're a game and a half out of first place. You can see Granderson now tied with Josh Hamilton for the league lead home runs. But these 13 wins and 9 losses that come with Robinson Cano having 1 home run and 4 runs batted in, and it's just a matter of time before he starts to click.
And we really haven't seen Alex Rodriguez hit his stride either. 4 home runs and 11 ribbies.
Yeah. Teixeira's been kind of in and out.
Right now out.
Yeah.
Struggling a bit. So when you put all the components in the stew, the fact that it comes up 13-9 is pretty good.
You toss in those hitters with the starting pitchers.
Not too many quality starts, high ERAs, but the bullpen has been so splendid, and they've had enough hitting that Joe Girardi's been able to coax 13-9 out of them. Still 1-2.
Cano hasn't been able to barrel up or square up anything yet. He's fouled off several pitches. And he's seen just about everything that Mattis has had. So for Mattis to get him out, he's going to have to make a quality pitch. If he leaves anything in the middle, now Cano's seen enough pitches. He's got everything just about time. Always felt that the first at bat of the night was the most important for a hitter. You want to see as many pitches as you can, unless somebody lays one right down the middle and you tank it. Then you really get a read on what the pitcher has that night.
And Mattis wins that battle as Cano foul tips it into the glove of Wieters for the second out. Here's Mark Teixeira, 4 hits in his last 27 at-bats, but against the Orioles, he has an 11-game hitting streak, 18 for 46. When he became a free agent, a lot of people thought he would end up with the Orioles. He's from Severna Park, Maryland, not too far from Baltimore. But at the time, it seemed it came down to the Red Sox or the Yankees. Wanted to be on a winning team, and the Orioles have been struggling for the longest time. And because of not going to Baltimore, he gets booed in Baltimore as he flies out to Markakis for the final out. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. The 1 run off the bat of Curtis Granderson. What a shot. Absolutely crushed it. At the end, when it lands, it's 1-0 Yankees. Which of these major league teams with the most active consecutive losing seasons will break its streak first? Text your vote to 42951. Standard text message rates apply. Pirates have gone 19 straight seasons. Is it the Buccos? The Orioles 14 seasons. And the Royals 8. We'll tell you how you voted later on.
It's a tough call.
Well, wouldn't you say the best talent is probably with the Kansas City
Royals?
Yeah.
They need pitchers, though. And I think in the divisions that they play, maybe they got the best chance.
There's a strike to Wieters. Yankees head to Kansas City after tomorrow night's game. It's a 4-game set against the Royals. Count 1-1. So a 1-0 lead for Phil Hughes on the long, loud home run by Curtis Granderson. Four games, Wieters has hit well against the Yankees. And a strike.
Right on the corner. Hit the glove at the knees. Going away with a fastball.
And he gets Wieters swinging. Second strikeout for Hughes.
Not quite hitting the target, but still had enough on the fastball to pass Wieters upstairs. That's the Phil Hughes of 2 years ago. Not quite to the target, but still got him.
Here's Chris Davis. High fly ball, deep right. Jones back on the track, at the wall. See ya, tie game. Fifth home run of the year for Chris Davis.
And his fourth in his last 7 games. And we had mentioned it last night. Davis is a good low ball hitter. If you're going to throw him a fastball, you got to elevate. You got to get up above the waist. You can see it's right around thigh high, and he can lift up on it with that uppercut swing, and he got to it. If he had thrown him the same pitch he threw Wieters, Davis might have swung through it, but not that one. That's right in his wheelhouse. And right now, lately, he's not been missing it.
Pitch to Betemit is high.
Showing the type of power that the Rangers were looking for. Before they traded Davis over to the Orioles.
One. Betemit has kind of assumed the third base role because of the struggles of Mark Reynolds. So a good opportunity for him. Now 2-2.
Yeah, Reynolds last night was used as the designated hitter for Buck Showalter. Reynolds just 6 for 54 against right-handed pitching, so that's the opening that Betemit is trying to take advantage of.
Count is full at 3-2. And the pitch. Breaking ball, strike 3. Betemit down looking. Third strikeout for Hughes.
I think this is the first curveball he's seen, and it's a 3-2, and you can see he freezes him. Everything else had been of the fastball variety, but this time, and in this particular instance, it's not a particularly good pitch. I mean, but it just fooled him completely.
Here's Nick Johnson. Nick is 0 for 26 on the season.
That's a club record to begin a season. For position play.
The longest hitless streak to begin an Orioles career overall was pitcher Wes Stocks, 0 for 36.
Nick had 2 stints with the Yankees, didn't he?
Started and then came back, and injuries just derailed him. Injuries have really hurt his career. Just can't stay on the field. Here's the 1-2. Look out, Wes Stock. Nick Johnson's now 0 for 27. But the Orioles tie the score on the Chris Davis home run. We go to the bottom of the second inning. Andrew Jones is going to lead off, and the game is tied at 1. You won't have to miss a game again now that you can watch live Yes Network Yankees games on your PCs or laptops with Verizon Fios. Get a full season of live Yankees games on the go for just $49.99. If you're a Verizon Fios TV customer with Fios Internet, go to yesnetwork.com to get more information and subscribe now. Guys from the Nets came by with some new Brooklyn Nets gear.
It's neat stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, Kenny's got a nice T-shirt working.
Hello, Brooklyn.
P.J. Carlissimo, one of the assistant coaches, Fordham guy, came by with the swag. So a monochromatic look.
Here you go, folks. Take a look.
You can get that in all, I think, NBA.com, they said. Congratulations to the Nets on their move. It's now official, and everyone who has seen it says the Barclays Center is beautiful. It's going to be fun. I'm going to go see some games there. And all the Net games are on Yes. Check swing by Andrew Jones. The count 1-2.
Watching Andrew Jones during batting practice today, Michael. He hit one over the bullpen in left center field, which is take your pick. Different zip code, different area code. Either one.
Swing and a miss. Well, he hits them, as they say. They stay hit.
Oh, yeah, they do. Mattis has already made one start against the Yankees this year. That was back on April 9th in Baltimore, and he took the loss. 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks, and 1 strikeout. In a game the Yankees won 6-2.
Here's Russell Martin getting half a day off as the DH, and Joe Girardi wanted to stack up righties, but he is really struggling. He's 2 for 25 at home, which is 080.
This is the first time he's ever DH'd.
I can't remember him DHing.
I asked Joe before the game around the batting cage, what if he's really good at it? Joe said, oh, I'll be really happy. Russell's in one of those situations now where he has struggled somewhat. He was 0 for 3 here last night. It seems when you're looking for one pitch or in a certain area, they throw it somewhere else. When you do hit it well, somebody's there to catch it. As a hitter, you got to think positively. If you don't have positive thoughts running through your mind, it's not going to work. And when I ever had a negative thought, I always used to step out, gather my thoughts, have a plan, and try and execute. But when you got the 2 strikes, just look for something in the strike zone and try and hit it right back through the middle.
Martin strikes out looking. 3rd strikeout from Mattis. Stay tuned during the 6th inning for a message from our friends at the Fox Business Network. Here's Eduardo Nunez. Nunez on this homestand, hitless in 6 at-bats, still hitting .313. And a strike. Popped up. And Dino is there, and he'll make the play for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning for Brian Mattis. Phil Hughes will go back on the mound, and he's going to face Andino, Chavez, and Hardy in the 3rd. presented by Blimpie. This season, there's more fun and games with your favorite Bombers as they spin baseball in a whole new direction. An all-new season of Yankees on Deck, it's back. Sunday at noon, only on Yes. Cotton candy, never a big fan of cotton candy. But those kids are loving it. We go to the third, and Andino fouls it off. Now, Mike Bonner's crew in the scoreboard. I mean, yesterday they had happy Andino on the scoreboard. Today they have the sad Andino. But it's such a stark contrast.
Well, maybe
there's happy. They just put happy back.
Well, yesterday was 0 for 3.
We got to get a shot of happy. No, now they changed it again. All right. There's the different faces of Andino. There's happy in 2010, okay in 2011, miserable this year. I like happy Andino.
He has more or less taken over every day at second base.
Lincoln scoreboard, it's 1-1. Brian Roberts, who's still suffering from concussion syndrome, he's actually with the team. Yeah. I saw him in the dugout earlier, and he's so frustrated. Just can't get it right. Can't get himself on the field. Kenny and I spoke to him in Baltimore. He said he was okay. There's Brian. He was okay in the minors, in spring training, should I say, with the smaller ballparks. But when he came up here with the lights and the triple-deck stadiums, it started to overwhelm him again. As Andino walks.
Yeah, a simpler thing as just turning your head to talk to somebody could bother him. You just set him off where he'd start to feel the effects of the concussion. Just talk to the next. He's had an abdominal injury that was in April 2010. Missed 91 games of concussion. Missed the final 6 games. And since May 2011, he's missed 122 games. And the second concussion was brought on by himself. He had a helmet on, but after striking out, he took a bat, hit himself in the head with the bat on the way back to the dugout, and gave himself a concussion.
And he has not been able to get over that one. And we've also seen Brian hurt himself on a collision at first base across the street at the old Yankee Stadium, covering first base, where that dreaded injury where the runner runs right into your arm.
Dislocated elbow, and he had to have surgery on his left elbow.
He's a good little player, too, an igniter, and they haven't been able to get him on the field. And I don't think you could ever question a guy like that. He loves to play. Why would he not want to play? And it's hard for him to get on the field.
Now, you get to the point, and in Baltimore they don't really talk about him much anymore as to when he's coming back. They more or less feel Andino's their second baseman. For when you're dealing with that, you can't travel, but now he's got to the point at least he can travel with the team. Hop, skip, and a jump for Endy Chavez. Get out of the way of that low inside heater.
Andino leads. Fouled away.
They are waiting for the real Phil Hughes to step forward.
Swing and a miss. That breaking ball is sharp tonight. And Chavez has gone down twice.
Twice, and both times on the same pitch. First at bat, he went away on a curveball. And another one that falls out of the strike zone, trying to get to it. Both times he's chased the breaking ball out of the strike zone. 4 strikeouts now for Phil Hughes.
There's J.J. Hardy. And a strike.
Hardy's gotten off to somewhat of a slow start. He's going to hit 30 home runs last year, tied to Troy Tulowitzki of Colorado for the most home runs by a shortstop.
Got those Brady Anderson type sideburns. That one is driven deep to left field. That's trouble. See ya. 2-run home run for Hardy. And it's 3-1 O's.
Fourth home run of the year for Hardy, and I can almost guarantee you this pitch is up and in the middle of the plate. That is where he likes it. Yep, belt high middle. And while he's been struggling, if you throw it there, he's going to hit it pretty well.
And that fastball was only 91 miles an hour. And when you don't locate at 91, that will happen. Earlier in the game, he was at 94, 95. That might not happen. There's a strike.
There it is, just belt high, middle of the plate. You see the barrel square up to the ball.
Hot shot and grabbed there by Cano for the second out.
Tough hop for Cano to handle, but he makes it look easier than it actually was. Off the heel, a little bit of a recoil, but stays with it.
There's Adam Jones. Boy, when you look around second base, and we just saw that on Yesmo, you know that Robinson Cano's been there. All those seeds he spits out all around him. He marks his territory. Constant stream.
I wonder if there's any bad hops in there.
Popped up.
I
wonder if they're going to grow pumpkins or sunflowers. That'll do it. Well, the Orioles take the lead. A pitch right down the middle of J.J. Hardy, and he just crushed it. A 2-run shot. And as we go to the bottom of the third inning, it's 3-1 Orioles, and Chris Stewart will lead off. Climpy, America's Sub Shop, and by Acura. Acura Vance. Lincoln scoreboard, it's 3-1. All the runs scoring via the home run. Solo shot by Chris Davis in the second. 2-run shot by J.J. Hardy in the third. And a solo shot by Granderson in the first for the Yanks. So it's 3-1. Stewart, the number 9 hitter, takes a pitch inside. Home plate umpire is Bob Davidson. So we'll look out for some balks tonight. He has a reputation for calling balks. In fact, his nickname amongst players is Balkin' Bob. Doesn't mean he's wrong.
No.
It means that he's probably more vigilant in calling it than other umps. Shows bunt, takes outside.
I watched Matt Wieters behind the plate. We talked about his progress as a receiver, and last year it resulted in his first Gold Glove. And one of the things he did change last year, you can see the black chest protector. He used to use a black glove, but pitchers had a hard time picking up the target. So now he's gone to a different color glove.
High fly ball, left field. Chavez puts it away.
It all used to blend in. So he made the change, and pitchers now have an easier time of picking up the target.
I'm surprised he could have gone to an orange chest protector. That would have had a contrast.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe like the protector he had, he's gone to a different color glove, and the pitchers can. I remember the former catcher Rick Dempsey of the Orioles used to use a glove that had an orange outline around the edge of the glove to really flash the target to the pitchers.
Here's Derek Jeter. Change up by Mattis. Derek has 318 hits against Baltimore. That's the most by any active player against any team in the majors. The 0-1. 0-2.
One thing I noticed about Mattis tonight is moving his fastball from corner to corner. And usually that's a sign of decent control. Now, he hasn't walked anybody yet. Let's see if this last pitch, that waste pitch there, is a setup on the next pitch. Usually one pitch leads to another. Move the ball around. Let's see if they come inside. No. Trying to go away again. One thing that might keep Mattis from going in on Derek Jeter, trying to get in there, is because Derek lined out to left field his first time up, as if he were looking in there. So that they're going away again.
Driven out to right field. Markakis can't make the play. Ball, wall, and body arrived at the same time.
The ball was slicing off the bat of Derek Jeter towards the stands. And if Nick Markakis had been a right-handed thrower, he might have had a better chance at making this particular catch. He has to reach across his body, and in doing so, gets to know the fans in the front row, but doesn't come away with a baseball. Jeter wants it foul. He gets his wish.
The ball was considered in the stand, so that gentleman had the right to reach for the baseball. The 1-2. Another change, 2-2. Slow roller off the mound is Mattis. He kicks the ball. Lost his balance and kicked the ball, and a base hit for Jeter.
In his haste, he's going to lose his footing, and you can see that right foot slide, and eventually, as Michael said, kick the ball into foul territory, and Jeter's going to get himself a base hit. But when you're hot, you are really hot.
Speaking of hot, especially with the home run ball, here's Curtis Granderson, and in the first inning, Kenny, he connected on a Coors Light cold hard blast.
Listen, that is a cold hard blast. He's reached safely now in 22 straight games.
Oh, that's strike. One and one. Last 14 games, a .327 hitter with 7 homers. Good pitch on the inside corner and at the knees, 1-2.
50 pitches already here in the third inning for Brian Mattis.
Good strike to ball ratio, 35-15. Drive over the leaping try of Andino into right field. Jeter stops at second. So Granderson 2 for 2 against the lefty.
Jeter had to hold up to make sure that Andino wasn't going to flag this down, and it just gets over his, well, maybe a foot or so over the outstretched glove, and Darren's going to have to stop at second base. Good effort though by Andino. Plenty of ups, and here's Jeter's lead. There's the line drive. He holds up. Ball's going to drop in, and he advances 90 feet.
So first and second, 1 out, and here's A-Rod. Try to explain that, Kenny. Why is he wearing Brady Anderson's glove?
Maybe because Brady's the one who is actually in charge of getting him in condition. You work with Brady Anderson all winter long. So maybe this is a tribute to the former Oriole outfielder. Brady is a special assistant now to the general manager, and one of his duties is conditioning, and he worked with several of the Orioles in the offseason. I guess that's to honor Brady Anderson for all the work they did over the winter.
One and two. Slow roller. Grabbed by Mattis. He gets A-Rod as the runners move up with 2 outs.
So I was just thinking the story of Brady Anderson continues in Baltimore.
Yep. Big spot for Cano. Chance to tie the game here in the bottom of the third. And he will not get it done as Andino drifts onto the outfield grass to make the play. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We go to the 4th. Matt Wieters will lead it off. There's the question. The Orioles' last winning season was back in 1997. 4 pitchers on that team made 30 or more starts, and all 4 pitched for the Yankees at one time. Who are they? Well, we know one for sure. Phil Hughes trailing 3-1 as we start the top of the 4th. And we are joined in the booth by our colleague Jack Curry. Jack's the one in the middle. Kenny's over there. I'm Michael Kay. So you spoke to Russell Martin, who's DHing today, but he had a plan on how he thought that Phil Hughes was going to pitch and how he had to pitch today. From what you see as Nunez makes the play, is he following that plan?
He is following that plan, and some of it has been successful. One of the things, Michael and Kenny, that Russell talked about was he's got to use that curveball more. Well, we've seen that in his 4 strikeouts. 3 of them have come on the curveball. But the primary thing he said was he's got to attack with his fastball, and he's got to go after these guys, and he's got to show the confidence that he can get them out with his fastball. Interestingly enough, he was talking about keeping the fastball down in the zone, but as Kenny brought up with Davis, that was the wrong place to put it.
Breaking ball to Davis, who had a home run in the 2nd inning. Phil Hughes pitching for anything today?
Joe Girardi said before the game that he believes that Hughes probably is thinking about his status. He said, listen, we just moved Freddie Garcia out of the rotation. He said, I don't want Phil to be thinking about what's going on with the rotation, but it would only be natural for him to be thinking about it. Michael, he's got about an 8 ERA coming into this game. We're into May. Pitchers don't get the chance to hang around in rotations with 8 ERAs. He needs to show the Yankees that he can be effective, that he can last longer than 5 innings in a game, which he's actually only done once this year. I think they want to see the guy they saw so much of in early 2010, a guy they haven't seen a lot of recently.
60 pitches for Hughes, who's given up 7 home runs in his last 19 innings. Check swing. I'm wondering about a guy who might be a threat to Phil Hughes' spot in the rotation, and that would be Andy Pettitte. Andy Pettitte spent all day today in Washington, D.C. testifying at the Roger Clemens trial. Are the Yankees taking that into account when they factor in when his next start is going to be?
Yes, he testifies again tomorrow, Michael, and Joe Girardi said that the Yankees, as they look towards his next minor league start, normally if he stayed on a 5-day rotation, he would pitch somewhere on Saturday. They haven't decided where yet, but Girardi said with the fact that he's in D.C., it's going to interrupt his routine. He said they might give him an extra day and let him start on Sunday. So Girardi addressed what was going on in D.C. and said, listen, from a baseball perspective and what the Yankees are concerned about with Pettit, they'd rather see him get that, quote, distraction out of the way before he comes back to New York.
High fly ball to Nunez, who has really played a credible left field these 2 games. Has not botched anything. 2 away. David Phelps is going to start in Kansas City. And I know you talked to him. His first big league start on Thursday. Butterflies, is he confident?
He's a pretty confident kid, Michael. He's very excited. That interview, by the way, will run on our batting practice show tomorrow. And he's excited about the opportunity. And I also reached out to Scott Aldred, the AAA pitching coach today, and asked him about Phelps and said, what did he do to get himself here? And Aldred said last year when he started out in Scranton, Phelps wouldn't have been ready for the major leagues. He said he needed to get more confident. He needed to use all of his pitches. And the one thing that he tried to impress upon Phelps was you have to go up there and throw strikes. If you nibble, batters will destroy you. And I asked Phelps if Aldred was accurate. He said yes, 100%. Everything that he told you was accurate. I had to believe in my fastball and in my splitter and in my curveball and my changeup. I had to believe that I could throw all of those at any time in the at bat against any batter.
He's been impressive, Jack. I've liked his demeanor on the mound. It's like he doesn't have the deer in the headlights look to me.
You know what he looks like, and this is really a grand compliment, and I'm saying he looks a little bit like David Robertson. To me, coming out there and just going after guys. Not nibbling. He doesn't have the skill set that David Robertson brings in terms of dominance, but really doing a nice job.
Nice job by Phil Hughes. Good bounce back inning as he retires the Orioles in order 1-2-3. Coming up for the Yankees in the bottom of the 4th, Teixeira, Jones, and Martin. Good breaking ball, getting Bettamy. State Smokers Quit Line Quiz. The Orioles' last winning season was back in '97. 4 pitchers on that team made 30 or more starts, and all 4 pitched for the Yankees at one time. Who are they? Messina, Jimmy Key, Scott Erickson, and Scott Kamenicki. Mark Teixeira leads off. Pitch outside, 1-0. 3-1, Orioles lead the Yankees. Grounded into the teeth of the shift. That's the second baseman, Andino. And he gets Teixeira for the first out. If the Orioles could hold on, it would be Buck Showalter's 1,000th career victory.
You see the shift against Teixeira more often when he's batting left-handed than right-handed, but this particular time, shift was right on the money. Andino on the left side of second base makes the play. Now, the first time up, Teixeira actually lined out to right field. He's hit the ball hard twice tonight.
Pitch to Andrew Jones, a strike. If Showalter gets a win, or his next win, would make him the 58th manager with 1,000 wins in baseball history. I know you spoke to him, Jack. Important to him?
Well, you know Buck, Michael, he tried to minimize it, but he said he's happy that he's had the opportunity, that the players and the people he's worked with have given him the opportunity to manage for that long. But that's quite an accomplishment. That's a nice round number. In typical Buck fashion, he started talking about some of those first games, those early games. He said he remembered the first win, but of course he also remembered the first loss. Back in '92, they actually got off to a strong start under Showalter. I think they won their first 6 games. They were challenging the Blue Jays there early on and ended up winning 76 games, I believe, that year. So it was a rough first year when he took over his first time as manager.
But if you remember, it was much better than the year before. So he made incremental strides each year before he built the team into the team they were that Joe Torre took over.
I think they went from 71 wins under Stump Merrill in '91 to 76 under Buck. But you're right, the changes were being made in the culture of the team and the kind of players they were going after, and the fact that they wanted players who would take pitches, OBP, something we didn't hear a lot about back then. And that's not going to help Andrew Jones's OBP right there as he strikes out. But he and Stick Michael did a real nice job of putting the right players, as you said, in place for that '96 championship team.
I think one of Buck's greatest accomplishments was the way he got the Arizona Diamondbacks off and started. I mean, he was traveling all throughout baseball, checking every team, all their players, the minor leagues, just to get the Diamondback organization going.
Hot shot to third base. Bettamy makes the play as Russell Martin's struggles continue, and the Yankees go down 1-2-3. We will hear from Jack and the postgame show. We go to the 5th inning. It's 3-1 Orioles over the Yanks. The Bryce Harper era in D.C. opened on the road. Got booed his first time up. 19-year-old, he got booed his first time up. So, you know, he's got publicity that's following him to the big leagues. And he expects to stay up there. And Davey Johnson said he reminds him a lot of Darryl Strawberry when Strawberry came up.
19 years old. How about the Angels calling up 20-year-old Mike Trout the other day? Getting younger and younger.
Pitch to Nick Johnson to strike 1-1.
The Angels are trying to get themselves going. That's why I think Trout was hitting close to 400 in AAA.
And Bobby Abreu wasn't hitting at all. I believe that Johnny Damon joined the Indians today, so he came back. Matsui has signed a minor league deal with Tampa Bay. And Abreu just waiting on a call. Albert Pujols for the Angels, still looking for his first home run. Look at Matt Kemp. Wow. He said he wants to go 50-50 this year. Well, he's gotten off to a good start. 417, 12 homers, and 25 ribbies.
There's a guy that doesn't want April to end.
Tale of two cities, indeed. The 2-2. Or the tale of two stories in one city. Well, the Angels say L.A., but they're really in Anaheim.
Yeah, it's about 45 minutes, 40 minutes down to Anaheim from L.A.
As the crow flies, but
yeah, with that traffic.
Yeah. 3-2, strike three. Nick Johnson still looking for his first hit. He's 0 for his first 28. Wow.
I wonder if being caught in traffic in LA is a little bit easier because of the fact that palm trees are around. Just pitch in there for call strike three. Over the end, a third of the plate, and Nick Johnson, the actor, is always looking for something else. You know what I mean, Michael?
I'd rather be stuck in traffic surrounded by concrete. I think. I think it'd be more frustrating. Look at the palm trees when you're stuck in the car. Here's Andino. 1-0.
Just sort of that pacifying. Oh, look at this. It's just swaying in the breeze.
Right up the middle. Just missed Hughes.
Oh, watch this one. Pitch up in middle and just underneath the numbers and on into center field for a base hit. You take a sigh of relief as a pitcher, and you almost take one to the body. Andy Chavez has made a pretty good career of being like the fourth or fifth outfielder on ball clubs. He's been with last year 301 with Texas and just over 300 at bats. And he's been with Kansas City, Montreal, Washington, Philadelphia, the Mets, Seattle, and Texas. So he has moved around. And if Nolan Reimold is out for a period of time, Chavez's playing time is going to go up. Michael mentioned that he's got a bulging disc in his neck.
Yep.
That is never good.
Runner goes, and that one is looped into left field. A nice running play by Nunez. And he fires back, but retracing his step was Andino.
There's a lot of white showing on this catch as Nunez closed the gap in left center field, but he did hold on to it. Watch him closing the gap, going to his left. Oh, just maintains the grasp in the heel of the glove, and didn't. I don't think he recognized right away where Andino was. So he's kind of running, just happy he's got the ball. I'm not saying he would have had to play it first, but he might have had a better shot if he had recognized a lot quicker.
There's J.J. Hardy. He's the difference in this game right now. A two-run home run in the third. Strike on the outside corner.
That looked like a cutter that got away.
Two one. Missed outside.
Still got to make a good pitch here, even though you're behind 3-1. Hardy's dangerous.
High fly ball, fairly deep center field. Granderson is there, and he'll put it away for the final out. No runs a hit, no errors, and one man left. We're halfway through. Nunez, Stewart, and Jeter coming up in the bottom of the fifth. The first 18,000 guests in attendance are going to receive a hand sanitizer keychain courtesy of New York Presbyterian Hospital. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Here's Nunez, popped to second in the second. Mattis deals. Mattis has lost 12 straight games. Last time he won a game was June 6th of 2011. That was against Oakland. The longest Orioles streak of consecutive losses belonged to Mike Boddicker. He lost 13 straight between 1987 and 1988. Or spanning those 2 years. Popped up. Markakis with the call on the catch. 1 out.
Boddicker had been a pretty good pitcher for the Orioles over the years. I think one of those 2 years, was it 87 or 88, the Orioles lost their first 21 games of the season. I think it was 88.
Is that when Cal Ripken Sr. was fired?
Yeah, after about the 4th or 5th game. It was 88. Imagine losing your first 21 games of the year.
Frank Robinson took over.
Yeah, he did.
Must not have been easy for Cal Ripken Jr. to have to continue to play and your dad gets fired.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy. Let's put it this way. He wasn't very happy after primarily the first week of the season. Your dad's out as the manager.
High pop-up, shallow center. Hardy called off by Jones for the second out.
In Boddicker in 1983, I can recall I was playing for the Orioles that year, and in the playoffs, championship series, we lost the first game to Chicago White Sox, and Boddicker won game 2. And in the World Series, we lost game 1 to the Philadelphia Phillies, and Boddicker won game 2.
That one skied the other way and out of play. Driven into right field. It is a base hit and it bounces into the seats for a double. 2-out double for Jeter.
Up and out over the plate, and Derek strokes it down the line, hoping it doesn't have too much cut on it. This one's going to stay fair. Hit off the warning track and bound into the seats like a springboard. And there is a double for Derek Jeter, his 7th two-base hit of the year.
And his 13th multi-hit game of the year, and that's the best in the majors. Here's Granderson. He's 2 for 2 against Mattis.
Yankees have 5 hits in the game, and Jeter and Granderson have 4 of them.
A-Rod has the other, a little looper over the head of Davis at first. Nine homers, 17 ribbies for Granderson. Alex is on deck. Two and two.
See what Mattis features here. Now he's got the count back to even. Granderson hit that foul ball with authority. Sometimes that could scare the pitcher into another type of pitch. That was a changeup. You wonder what kind of pressure Mattis is under. I mean, he hasn't won a game since, what did you say, June 6th of last year.
Yep.
It's got to get old after a while.
He's probably old last August.
Oh.
Previous 10 starts before the streak was 7-0. Great numbers.
Look at the ERA.
So who is he? Is he somewhere in the middle? The 2-2. Wanted that call. Count 3-2.
The target of Wieters. That's too high. Came back with it.
Right in on the hands. Good pitch. And Andino gets Granderson for the final out. No runs a hit, no errors, and one man left on base. 5 in the books. Orioles lead 3-1 over the Yankees. Look at Manhattan, but here in the Bronx, Nick Markakis leads off.
And most often than not, it's been the curveball of choice to strike these hitters out. Andy Chavez in the first inning goes down. Here's a fastball to Matt Wieters. Breaking ball freezes Wilson Betemit. Another curve. Chavez is gone again. Betemit swings and misses at a curve. Fastball to Nick Johnson. 6 strikeouts, ties a season high for Phil Hughes.
And he goes to the 6th inning with Markakis leading off. Markakis is 1 for 2. Yankees scored a run in the first on Granderson's home run. Then Chris Davis a home run in the second for the Orioles. And then a 2-run shot by J.J. Hardy in the third. And that's the ball game. 3 long balls. And the Orioles up by 2. High fly ball, deep right center. Andrew Jones on the run makes the play for the first out.
Yeah, just got enough in on the hands to keep that ball from traveling out of the ballpark. Let's check out a Home Depot hitter scout report on Adam Jones. Right now, as Michael told you earlier, he is riding a 9-game hitting streak. And last year he was the most valuable Oriole when he set career highs in home runs and runs batted in. 25 homers, 83 runs batted in, and he's hitting .351 against right-handed pitchers, which tells me he's learned how to hit the ball the other way a lot better than he used to. And if you look at Curtis Granderson in center field, that would tell you that Granderson knows that he's hitting the ball a lot better to the opposite field than he used to. Curtis a few steps towards right center.
Count 0-2.
Phil Hughes has jumped out 0-2 on the first two batters of the inning. So the hitters are hitting in a defensive posture.
Tried to put him away the breaking ball. Count 1-2.
Even though Hughes is trailing in this game, 2 home run pitches, one to Davis and one to Hardy. You got to think this is his best outing so far this year.
Just got a piece. And the pitch outside, 2-2.
6 strikeouts for Hughes, just 1 walk.
Grounded to Cano. Jones hustling down the line, gets thrown out. Matt Wieters 0 for 2. He struck out and flied out to left. Count 1-0. Still throwing hard, 93 miles an hour. He hit 95 tonight. Said he was going to come out, be more aggressive, challenge hitters with fastballs.
Since giving up the home run to Hardy, only one Orioles gotten on base. That was a base hit by Andino in the 5th inning. And the Yankees have had some opportunities to come through against Brian Mattis, but haven't been able to do so.
Got the breaking ball in there for a strike.
Yeah, that was a good pitch because he's behind on the count. And you think back to what Jack Curry said about Russell Martin, thinking that he should use the curveball more. And he might have got a little bit of break on that one. It might have been a little high and outside, but he still got the call. So more extensive use of the breaking ball tonight, mixing his pitches up. He's approaching the 100 pitch mark here in the 6th inning.
The 2-2. getting later into the game, you're also toying with getting into that Oriole bullpen, which is the best ERA-wise in the American League. And that is still not close to being taken out. And that one plunks leaders as he will take first.
Second night in a row he's been hit by a pitch in that area. Last night he took one off the kneecap and just trotted down to first. And today, not quite sure whether you'd see Hughes had to work harder in the first inning than any other inning.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Well, Phil Hughes, 5 2/3 innings. He leaves a runner on first base, and Joe Girardi will bring in the lefty to face Chris Davis. Hughes pitched better than he has all year. He'll get somewhat of a nice hand as he walks off the mound. Logan against Davis when we get back. T. And that call brings in the left-hander Boone Logan.
Logan off to a great start. This will be his 12th appearance, and the ERA would tell you he's doing a great job. And all the rest of the numbers: 9 1/3, only 6 hits, 13 strikeouts, and a 182 batting average against. It's getting to the point where he's not just for lefties anymore. You know, they bring him in to face a lefty, but Joe Girardi does not hesitate to leave him in there with some right-handed hitters coming up.
So the numbers on Hughes: 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, 100 pitches. So he doesn't have a chance to win the game, but he certainly wouldn't mind avoiding the loss. The Yankees have to rally. Chris Davis homered in the second off of Hughes, and then flied out to left in the fourth. Want to know. Three-1 Orioles lead. The Yankees won the first game of the series 2-1. In fact, they've taken all 4 games against the Orioles this year. So Orioles are 14-5 against the rest of their schedule and 14-9 overall, thanks to the Yanks. Showalter keeps in Davis against the lefty Logan because Davis is 4 for 5 career against the southpaw. Not with swings like that. Count 2-1.
Davis has actually been swinging the bat pretty well. With the home run tonight, 4 home runs his last 7 games. And 8 for his last 19. So
that one is past Cano. Got out in an eye blink for a base hit for Davis. So now 5 for 6 against Logan. Runners on first and second, still 2 outs.
Yeah, another fastball that was down. Davis just has that natural where he just drops the head of the bat. And any fastball that's about thigh or knee high, he's going to make a good pass at it. That one's knee high and on the outside corner or towards it. And he hits a rocket past Robinson Cano. Can't flag it down. You know, most pitchers are taught to keep the ball down, but against certain hitters, it's a little better to elevate your fastball. And Davis is one of them. You better have something on it, though.
Nice stop there by Stewart.
Shows his quickness behind home plate. You know, Bename's a switch hitter, but he's a better hitter left-handed. Here's a look at that last pitch. It looked like a slider. It slid a bit too far, but Davis gets leather, chest protector on it, keeps it almost directly in front of him. He's quick behind the plate.
1-1. 1-2. One-two pitch. Lined into right field. Giving chase is Andrew Jones. He can't make the play. Weeder scores. Chris Davis moves to third. It's an RBI single for Bettamy. And the Orioles lead 4-1.
Up out over the plate where Bettamy could get to it. You saw him struggle with pitches down. That pitch was up and maybe middle. And kind of an inside-out swing, but still got the barrel of the bat on the ball. Almost drove it into the gap in right center. Andrew Jones cuts it off, and Baltimore picks up another run. Wilson Bettamy with a run batted in. That run is charged to Phil Hughes.
Here's Nick Johnson, 0 for 2. Count 1-0. 0 for 28 on the season. Top of the 6th inning. Count 2-0 as Logan laboring.
I think the worst I ever had was an 0 for 24.
That must get old.
Man, you don't think you're ever going to get another hit.
Breaking ball strike.
Remember, Nick Johnson's a designated hitter, but Buck Showalter again stays with the lefty against lefty. Although his bench is somewhat compromised tonight because Nolan Reimold is in Baltimore.
So he's got Mark Reynolds, who's really been struggling, and his only other catcher, Ronnie Paulino.
Yeah. And Ryan Flaherty's a left-handed hitter.
So not many moves he could make other than going to Reynolds. Johnson waited on that one, just slapped him foul.
Yeah, it was an emergency type swing.
Has not had a hit in the major leagues in almost 2 calendar years. And it was with the Yankees against the Orioles. The 2-2. Fly ball left field. Nunez coming on. He can't make the play. He cannot make the play. Davis scores. Benameat scores. And the Orioles now lead 6-1. So taking a chance with Nunez in left, it bites the Yankees right there as he gets charged with an E7.
Yeah, he had made 3 putouts on the night, and it got to this point. He hung back, and then all of a sudden, the ball wasn't coming to him. So he had to make a rush, a bad dash at the end, and that's a catchable ball. And it's going to be an E7 as 2 more runs are going to score.
So Nick Johnson still hitless, but he does get 2 runs home. 6-1 Baltimore. Brought to you in part by Toyota, the official hybrid of the New York Yankees.
Well, this is going to be the 3rd error of the season for Nunez. His first as an outfielder. And I don't know. He thinks he has it right now, but then he realizes he's going to have to come on as the ball slices, and he can't make the catch. And what seemed to be an innocent fly ball that would end the inning, instead, Baltimore gets 2 more runs as we watch on Yesmo, and increase their lead to 5. They now lead 6-1, and you can see the reaction of Nunez. Somewhat fooled on a slicing fly ball of the bat of Nick Johnson.
So Corey Wade takes over. This will be his 9th game. Nick Johnson's at second, still 2 outs. Strike. So Boone Logan, those runs are not earned. So his ERA actually went down, but did he do a good job? No, he gave up the hit to Davis, a hit to Benameat. So the run that Weeder scores is on the ledger of Phil Hughes. And that is earned. Check swing. And they check with the first base umpire. Hunter Wendelstedt said he did not go.
Well, Michael, the Yankees were toying with the idea of calling up an outfielder from the minor leagues. You know, somebody who's actually played it over a longer period of time, but they didn't do it. And certainly cost him in this instance. Nunez not making the play. Because of the left-hander Mattis on the mound tonight. Ibanez, left-handed hitter, on the bench, and Mattis does well against lefties. So even the more experienced Ibanez didn't get a chance to play against the lefty tonight. That would have changed things defensively. A little more experience out there.
And a walk to Andino, and the inning continues. And that'll bring up Andy Chavez. Chavez is a perfect example, Kenny, of how players are defined, no matter what their individual game is, by their team success. Because in the NLCS Championship Series, Andy Chavez made a catch for the Mets against the Cardinals that would have gone down as one of the great catches in postseason history. But the Mets ended up losing the game, and it's kind of swallowed up in the memory of the loss. But what a play. There's a ground ball to second. Cano is there, and the inning is finally over as the Orioles put 3 on the board with one big error by Eduardo Nunez. Orioles 6, Yankees 1. And now a business update from our friends at the Fox Business Network. YesNetwork.com's new Game Connect, our new social networking app that lets Yankees fans interact with each other and the broadcast booth while watching the game. See what other fans are tweeting about and get up to the minute scores and in-depth pitch-by-pitch stats, all at YesNetwork.com. Well, the Yankees have dug themselves a 6-1 hole, and Brian Mattis has to feel good about things as Alex Rodriguez will lead off. And he bunts. That's a base hit. Bettamy was playing somewhere near the Grand Concourse, and Alex said, I'll take the single.
Try and get something started. And you see the teammates applauding Alex's efforts. And I can't remember the last time I saw Alex Rodriguez drop down a bunt. But you're right. Bettamy was somewhere up near the Westchester line. And A-Rod had all. He could have walked down to first base for the base hit.
Curtis Granderson with a wow. And if you watched Alex running down to first, his legs must feel pretty good because he was really busting. He thought there would be a play.
Was he thinking two?
No. That one is lined into center field, and it's a nice play by Adam Jones.
Here's what Michael's talking about. Alex Rodriguez going down the line, sensing an infield single on a bunt. No problem, not even a throw. Another look. Enemy just handed it back to Mattis. Cano hit that ball like a rocket, by the way.
Here's Teixeira. High fly ball. Jones calls off Markakis for the second out.
Well, the bunt single by Alex was he's trying to get something going, but the next two Yankees are retired quickly.
Extreme shift for Andrew Jones. Three infielders on the left side. The entire right side of the infield is open as Davis holds on A-Rod. Way out in front of the change, 0-1. That space is open.
You thinking bunt?
I don't think so.
Now with 2 outs.
Line down the left field line. Foul ball. If you're wondering, that's the first bunt hit for Alex Rodriguez since 2004. One and two. The Yankees have 6 hits, and the first 3 batters in their lineup have 2 apiece. Bottom of the order just not doing it against Mattis. Popped up. Chris Davis makes the play, and that'll do it. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We go to the 7th. J.J. Hardy will lead off. Time for another look at tonight's Toyota text poll. Again, the question: which of these major league teams with the most active consecutive losing seasons will break its streak first? You've been texting us at 42951, and here's how you voted. Overwhelmingly, you believe it's going to be the Orioles, as Yankee fans still believe in their former manager, Buck Showalter. Buck agrees. Right now, his Orioles are 14-9. Cadillac scoreboard, 6-1 Baltimore. Driven down the left field line and foul.
Well, we watched Corey Wade in spring training. Well, he wasn't very good, to be honest with you. He just wasn't getting the job done in spring. But once the season started, once the bell rung, he's been very, very good out of the Yankee bullpen.
Strike three. Hardy down looking.
Well located fastball. Watch the target of Chris Stewart. Boom, right to the glove. And Hardy's frozen on a comfortable night. Much more comfortable out here tonight than it was last night. It's got cold last night.
Here's Nick Markakis. He's 1 for 3. Ground ball to Cano. 2 outs. Hitting the road, take the Yankees with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Yankees out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Yankees.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. Camouflage Yankee hat. There's Adam Jones. 0 for 3. So another game where the Yankees don't get a quote-unquote quality start. There's a better start for Phil Hughes, but 5 2/3 and 4 runs. A quality start in the books is 6 innings and 3 runs. But an improvement for Phil.
But also, last night the Yankees only scored 2 runs and won the game. Tonight they only have 1. And we talked about the improvement in the Baltimore pitching, and it's come to the forefront in these first 2 games.
Brett Gardner there. Obviously they miss his bat. Hopefully they'll get him back sometime this weekend in Kansas City. And they miss Nick Swisher as well.
They miss Gardner's defense.
Tonight they have the 1-2.
Plus, Gardner was off to a good start with the bat, too. Hit .321 when he left, and you miss him on the bases. Hopefully it won't be too long before he's back in the lineup. Now, he covers left field like the best center fielders cover center field. Just from gap to the line, no problem. In and out, and has a strong and accurate throwing arm. Nunez is still learning.
Let's see if he learns on this one. He's going back, he's looking, and the ball is going to be off the base of the wall. And Adam Jones with a double extends his hitting streak to 10 straight.
Adam Jones, we mentioned in our Home Depot hitter scouting report, was the most valuable Oriole last year. Luke is trying to double up on that award and win it a couple years in a row. And for Jones, that's his 6th double of the year.
And there's a strike to Wieters. Count 1-1. Swing and a miss.
Just looking up who won the most valuable Oriole the most, that award the most. It was Eddie Murray. 6 times he won.
You ever get it? 3 times.
3 times.
And now you're the most valuable in the yes booth.
Oh, Michael, you're here the most. That makes you valuable.
The 2-2. So Wade battling Wieters. Wieters 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch. And that was the last batter that Phil Hughes faced. And it really changed the face of this game. Because Logan came on, and by the time everyone blinked, 3 runs were in.
That all happened with 2 outs.
Yep. Swing and a miss. Foul tip held on to by Stewart. Gets him on the chains. No runs a hit. No errors and 1 man left. At the end of 6 1/2, it's time for the 7th inning stretch here at the stadium. Orioles lead the Yankees 6-1. We'll stay where we are to listen to God Bless America.
Rise and offer a moment of silent prayer as we remember the servicemen and women serving our country at home and around the globe. Thank you. Now join in Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America.
Red Sox, since they got swept by the Yankees, have actually rebounded 7-1 since those 2 games at Fenway. Remember, the Sunday game was rained out. But then the Tampa Bay Rays, what a blow for them. A team that, missing a little on offense. Evan Longoria out a month to 8 weeks with a hamstring. There was some fear it was a serious knee injury. So in a way, that's a good thing. But losing that guy for 8 weeks can't be considered good.
Yeah, I've been informed by Troy Benjamin in the truck that it's a partially torn hamstring. And that's why the length of time.
6-1. Orioles lead on the Cadillac scoreboard. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Count 2-0. Martin's 0 for 2. 1 for his last 12. This start in stark contrast to what he did last year. He was quick out of the gate in his first season as a Yankee. Count 3-0. Darren O'Day, one of the 6 righties in the bullpen for the Orioles. And Martin starts off the 7th with a walk.
That is the first walk handed out by Mattis tonight. It might be a sign of trouble. The Yankee bullpen is busy as well. Rafael Soriano. There's Rickard there, the pitching coach, checking to see the progress of O'Day as he taking his warm-up tosses. Anytime you hand out a walk, you haven't handed one out all night, and to make it even worse, a leadoff walk, it's a red flag.
So here's Nunez as he'll try to make up for that misplay in left that allowed 2 runs to score. Really changed the complexion of this game. Count 1-0. So 5 straight pitches that are balls. Six straight balls. 2-0. And now here comes Rick Adair trying to settle down Mattis. When you've lost 12 in a row and you're 9 outs away and you have a 5-run lead, there's no way that's not creeping into your mind.
Well, not only with Mattis, though, but it's in the mind of Buck Showalter. He wants to get this kid going in the right direction. He's going to give him every opportunity to win this game and not lose it. So he's just giving O'Day a few more pitches to warm up, and he'll try and get Mattis certainly out of this game before anything really major starts to roll for the Yankees.
And Nunez wanted to jump on the first pitch, figuring he'd get a fastball. And he pops it up to Hardy for the first out. There's always 2 schools of thoughts there, Kenny. I'm wondering what you used to think. 2-0, you figure you get a pitch down the middle. Other people say, well, why don't you just wait until you get a strike?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking he would take that pitch.
Right.
Just to see, because Mattis is struggling, and that's his only strike he's thrown this inning. And he gets an out with it. Instead, you make him throw a few more pitches. Maybe he walks you, and then Buck's going to make the move anyway. But there would have been 2 men on base when he made it.
Showalter's going to go to his bullpen for the final 8 outs. Let's see if they can hold on to this 6-1 lead. in the series finale here at the stadium. Coverage starts at 6 with batting practice today, and then the Tri-State 4 pregame. Then Ken Singleton and I are back here in the booth. Yankees and the Orioles only on Yes. Crowd of 37,790. Here's the in-game box score. All 6 hits, the top of the lineup. 2 for Jeter, 2 for Granderson, 2 for A-Rod. Nothing anywhere else. Only a walk to Russell Martin. So the bottom of the order hasn't done the job. And Robinson Cano, throughout the year, has been a little bit of a disappointment for the Yankees. He has not gotten his swing down. Well, Joe Girardi is going to counter Buck Showalter's move of bringing in the side-winding Darren O'Day, and he is going to pinch hit Eric Chavez for Chris Stewart. O'Day, good numbers.
Well, this means the Yankees are going to lose their DH because Russell Martin's going to be forced to catch. And that puts the pitcher in the 9th spot in the order.
From 2 off-speed pitches. Stewart was 0 for 2 while in there. Fly ball to left, fly ball to center. Last night, Chavez was the difference in the game as he went yard.
Probably the worst pitch that Jason Hammond threw in the game, right down the middle, and Chavez didn't miss it. Already got more home runs this year than he had all of last year.
Most since 2007. Line drive to center field. Jones coming on, and he makes the play. Kind of a backhanded shoestring catch for the second out.
He said the ball, it appeared, I thought I saw him signal to Chavez that the ball was knuckling on the way out there. And sometimes it can be very difficult. Ooh, yeah, I don't know if it touched any turf, but he tries to sell it right at the end. We might get a better look here.
No, he dropped it.
He dropped it. He did. And sometimes balls hit very hard. The spin is knocked off of it, and it kind of knuckles. It comes at you like a knuckleball. But he is going to trap it and then sell it.
The weird part is, Kenny, Dan Bellino, the second base ump, did not make the call. Yeah. The call was Hunter Wendelstedt's at first.
Yeah, that's it must be part of the rotation.
Base hit up the middle for Jeter, his 3rd hit of the night. So how big was that catch or that bad call on Chavez's liner?
Derek Jeter once again, well, he's already got his 13th multi-hit game of the season. This adds a little icing on the cake with his 3rd hit of the night.
Here's the Yankee offense. Curtis Granderson with a long home run in the 1st inning. Orioles have a good statistical bullpen. They only have one left-hander. That's Troy Patton. So Showalter has to pick his poison when he wants to counteract the Yankee lefty power. Orioles have the best statistical bullpen ERA-wise in the American League.
Certainly a departure from the last few years when their bullpen was overworked and
bases loaded. Here's Alex Rodriguez. He bunted for a hit his last time up. And it's there again for him, Kenny, as Vetemite pretty close to the outfield grass.
I don't think he's thinking bunt this time up with 2 outs. I always felt when you face the pitcher, a side armor or almost an underhand pitcher, they rely on deception. And they always, at first pitch, they try and get for a strike, and then they start moving for the corners. So sometimes the first pitch is the best one you're going to get from a pitcher like this.
Popped him up. And the catch is made by Wieters, and that will do it. So Alex does not get it done with the bases loaded. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and the bases are left loaded. 3 men on for the Yanks. We go to the 8th inning. Orioles up by 5. Game summary brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. 6-7-0 for the Orioles, 1-7-1 for the Yanks. Phil Hughes lasted 5 2/3 this time. 4 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. J.J. Hardy had a 2-run home run against Hughes, and Curtis Granderson hit his 9th home run of the year, and that's tied for the American League lead with the Rangers' Josh Hamilton. It's also the Yankees' only run tonight. New pitcher for the Yankees. It'll be Rafael Soriano.
We showed you statistically 2 of the better bullpens in baseball. And Soriano's numbers would tell you he's doing pretty well. Maybe the 6 walks in 7 innings sticks out a bit too much, but everything else has been pretty good for Rafael Soriano.
Chris Davis takes a strike. Davis 2 for 3. New catcher is Russell Martin, which means that Soriano gets penciled into the number 9 spot in the Yankee order as they lose their DH. Another chance for Nunez. Long run. He's not going to get there. It is a base hit, and it rolls into the corner. Played out there by Nunez, and Chris Davis with a leadoff double. His 3rd hit of the night. Hyundai scoreboard: Baltimore 6, New York 1. There's always that chance you take when you only carry 2 catchers and you use one of your catchers as a DH. And the Yankees took that chance, and they have a very light bench, so even if they get up to the pitcher, they have Raul Ibanez, who they could use.
Yeah, the good news is the Orioles only have 1 lefty out there, and that's Troy Pat. But you can see Buck Showalter saving him for the most opportune moment to face a lefty, and batting for the Yankees.
So Ibanez is the only available Yank, and Nick Swisher is on the active list, but he's still hurt.
It's got to be frustrating for Swisher to sit around. First of all, he's got so much energy, probably more than 10 people. But the fact is that he's off to a great start. Among the league leaders in RBIs, extra base hits, and has been a big factor of late in the Yankee attack.
Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did, said Jerry Lane. And Betamete cannot believe it. He is down on strikes.
Betamete's had 1 hit and 3 strikeouts tonight. And I don't know.
Wow.
He might have had the case in court on that one.
Speaking of injuries, we were just talking about Swisher. It's worth noting that Michael Pineda underwent successful surgery today, arthroscopically on his shoulder. And Yankee manager Joe Girardi said, quote, he's on the road to recovery. And it's going to be about a year recovery. The Yankees hope he comes all the way back to being the hard-throwing pitcher that he was.
I certainly wish Pineda good luck and a strong rehab session.
Talked to our colleague Al Leiter, who had that same surgery as a youngster, and he said the key is the rehab. You've got to be diligent. You've got to really want it. You've got to stay with it, and you've got to realize that you're going to have some setbacks and play right through it. He said, but the rehab is key.
I think we had a list the other day of the pitchers who have had that. Kurt Schilling,
Ron Smoltz, right?
Roger Clemens.
Yep.
Those guys did pretty well when they came back.
And Al said that when he came back, he actually threw 97 miles an hour again. So you can keep the velocity if you do the rehab the right way. Nick Johnson gets his first base hit of the year. That is going to drive in Chris Davis, and Johnson is at second with an RBI double at 7 1-0s. That breaks an 0 for 29 start to a season.
Nick Johnson. The drought is over. Hanging slider, low and in where left-handed hitters like it, and he just drills it into the corner. It's been a long time. He skipped April, but May is a new month. Wait, just looking around, where am I?
There's a strike. Nick's a good guy whose career has been derailed with injury after injury.
A great guy.
A strike. Deep drive, center field, Granderson back, still back, and he makes the play. Nick Johnson tags, he'll go to third. Nice play by Granderson. He had to cover a lot of real estate to haul that in.
You don't expect to drive that deep off the bat of Andino, but he got into one, and Granderson was on the retreat. Had to change his route a little bit on the way back, but still was able to haul it in. Watch him now right here. Reroutes to GPS and makes the play. Ball had plenty of airtime, gave him a chance to get back and make the catch.
Pitch outside to Chavez.
The Yankees have thrown a lot of breaking balls, a lot of curves and sliders to Andy Chavez tonight. He had problems with the curveball of Phil Hughes, struck him out twice.
DJ Mitchell warming up in the Yankee pen. And a nice play by Granderson to rob Chavez of an RBI single and maybe more. So a little leather and grace in center field for Granderson. He goes back on one, he comes in on one, and we go to the bottom of the 8th on one, and it's 7-1. Let's take a look at tomorrow's starting pitchers, brought to you by Verizon Fios. Welcome to America's fastest, most consistent, most reliable internet. Welcome to Life on Fios. Jake Arrieta, very good pitcher for the Orioles, 1-2, 4.45, so his record doesn't show his talent. Ivan Nova, 3-0, 5.18. Looks like that could be the rubber game of the set. Our coverage is going to begin at 6 o'clock with the BP show, 6:30 with the pregame show, and right around 7:07, 7:08 with the first pitch on Yes. Robinson Cano will lead off, followed by Mark Teixeira. Hyundai scoreboard, 7-1-0s. A strike by Darren O'Day. Cano gets something in his eye. Count 1-1.
The Orioles in rebuilding their bullpen. Claimed O'Day on waivers from the Texas Rangers. He's off to a very good start this year. He's only allowed 6 hits in 11 2/3 innings. 2 walks and 12 strikeouts. So at this point of the season, first month, he's been pretty effective.
Missed outside. You always worry with sidewinders. What do they do against the opposite batter? Just get a long look. Cano 0 for 3. Still not quite there. Hitting .258 with just a home run and 4 ribbies. And Cano's either batting 3rd or 4th in this order, and he has just 4 runs batted in.
Yeah, it's been a struggle with runners in scoring position for him this year. Just 150 coming into tonight's game.
And that one is foul tipped and held on to by Wieters, 1 away. So he's 0 for 4, Cano.
Here's the last swing. This pitch might have been out of the strike zone. You know, Robbie's going to. Yeah, it was. It was moving as well, moving away from him. He just got a piece of it, but Wieters held on to it.
And a strike 2 to Shera. Mark is 0 for 3, 4 for his last 30. Drilled deep to right field. Foul ball. Grounded to first. Davis is there. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Andrew Jones is 0 for 3.
When you have statistically a good bullpen, it leads to good numbers late in ball games, of course. And Orioles are 8-0 when leading after 7 innings.
Dropped the breaking ball in there for a strike.
And in the close games, a lot of that has to do with Jim Johnson, who's taken over as their closer and has closed out 15 in a row going back to last year. Last year he did not begin the season as a closer, but Kevin Gregg had struggled. Buck Showalter made the move. Now, Michael, it's a foregone conclusion. If you don't pitch in the Eastern Division, you're not going to win. And the way that the Orioles primarily the last few years, that's been the big bugaboo. They couldn't get people out. Heavy hitting teams in the East would just steamroll it.
Andrew Jones works the walk. That's going to bring up Russell Martin. Russell is 0 for 2 with a walk.
So Buck Showalter on the phone, and the bullpen's beginning to scramble again.
Count 1-0. And he gets Patton up because he knows that the pitcher is going to be 2 batters away. So he'll give O'Day Nunez, and the only pinch hitter the Yankees have is Raul Ibanez. So he's going to match Patton up against Ibanez. That's the Yankee bench. Chavez pinch hit for Stewart, the catcher, in the 7th. Nick Swisher's really not available. And a strike. way outside. Grounded to third. The throw is wide, but it's a foul ball. Boy, the umps took a long time to call that. That's why Bettamy threw the ball. Jerry Lane and Bob Davidson looked at each other before they put their hands up. Foul.
You can see the ball just take that little turn to the left, and it's definitely a foul ball.
Now, if the ball is in front of third base, it's the home plate umpire's call.
Exactly, yeah.
So they were both looking at each other. Two balls, two strikes, two outs, bottom of the eighth. Yankees trail 7-1. Right back to O'Day. Throws that one overhand to first base, and that will do it. No runs, no hits, no errors, one man left. We'll go to the ninth. J.J. Hardy, Nick Markakis, and Adam Jones coming up.
The Land Rover drive of the game. We have to go into the third inning with one on and one out. It's J.J. Hardy at the plate. And after he hits this one, he's jumping for joy. That's our Land Rover drive of the game. That's the hit that gave the Orioles the lead, which they haven't relented to this point.
Big moment for this young man, DJ Mitchell. He's making his major league debut. This is what he did at AAA so far this year. 4 starts. He's a starter, just as David Phelps is a starter and started in the bullpen. 13 hits, 7 walks, so a whip under 1. And he impressed them in spring training. It was a tough call between Warren, Phelps, and Mitchell. Phelps got the call. He did a good job in the bullpen. He's going to start on Thursday in KC. And here's DJ Mitchell.
Well, we were talking about the depth of the organization in pitching, and Mitchell gets his chance to make his major league debut. He features a very hard sinking fastball, probably his best pitch. A young man out of Clemson University. He's a Clemson Tiger.
Full name William Douglas Mitchell Jr. And he is 24 years old. And the first pitch he throws in the big leagues, a strike. Last year in AAA, 13-9 with a 3.18 ERA, 28 games, 24 starts.
There's that sinker, hit the outside corner. I think he was the Yankees minor league pitcher of the year last year.
Yankees selected him in the 10th round in 2008. And when a 10th rounder makes it, that's good scouting. And he was a minor league pitcher of the year last year, as Kenny said.
I remember that from spring training. Good breaking ball, slider for a strikeout. Couple of sinkers and finally puts him away with a slider. And J.J. Hardy, first batter you see for Mitchell, is a strikeout.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Smart move by Russell Martin. He gets that ball. He's going to toss it into the dugout. He was in Sports Illustrated's Faces in the Crowd in 07. Clemson, and as we mentioned, 10th round in 2008. And Stevie Donahue will take care of that. Breaking ball strike. 6'1", 190.
He doesn't look 190 to me.
No, you're wrong. You're right. He's 6 foot 160.
Oh, okay. I was going to say 190 doesn't go as far as it used to. It's a long time since I saw 190.
My error. I looked at the wrong box. He's 160. The 2-1 base hit by Nick Markakis. That job used to belong to Gene Monahan, longtime trainer with the Yankees, who retired after last year. Stevie Donahue was longtime lieutenant, now the head trainer, head athletic trainer. The job falls to him. There's Adam Jones against DJ Mitchell.
It's interesting because I was talking to Mitchell in spring training. As you know, my son Justin played baseball at Clemson University. I mentioned that to Mitchell. And I also mentioned that my son's team went to the College World Series, so Mitchell was impressed. He said, oh, look, those were great Clemson teams.
This is the next wave of Yankee pitchers. Phelps, Mitchell, and Warren.
Yeah.
So we've seen Phelps. He's starting against KC in KC Thursday. Now Mitchell. Warren's still down there. Ground ball to Jeter. There's one. And the ball is dropped by Cano as he tries to remove it to throw. So the force is complete. So a fielder's choice as Jones reaches.
Almost a chance to get Mitchell out of the inning. You can see Cano in his haste to make the transfer. Drops it. Markakis is forced at second. There's the catch, trying to pull it out of the glove. And not quite getting the reception in the bare hand.
Matt Wieters swings and misses. A lot of people ask, well, what about the Killer Bees? Well, they're not ready. No. Banuelos has been hurt. Betances has not pitched well. Both of them are not putting up glittering numbers, so it's a work in progress. They're still very young.
Yeah, first experience at AAA. Yeah, Mitchell, Warren, and Phelps are all a little older, a little more experienced. Yeah, Phelps went to Notre Dame, Mitchell to Clemson, and I think Warren to North Carolina.
Hot shot past the diving Teixeira, kicks off the wall right to Jones. Adam Jones is going to be stopped at third. The throw to second, and they get Wieters. Bad base running by Matt Wieters, who I guess thought that Adam Jones was going to be sent home. So that is the final out in the ninth. DJ Mitchell gives up a couple of hits. but escapes without allowing a run. The cutoff by Cano. He fired to Jeter, who tags out Wieters. Nunez will lead off the bottom of the ninth. #2951, or you could vote online at yesnetwork.com. Tonight's candidates are number 1, J.J. Hardy, number 2, Chris Davis, number 3, Brian Mattis, and number 4, Curtis Granderson. Not quite a full moon, not even close, as Luis Ayala has had a full 10 games. Wow. No runs allowed, 11 hits. Or 11 innings, 8 hits, 3 walks. Opponents hitting 195 against him. And he's going to face Nunez. Ibanez pinch hitting for DJ Mitchell. And then Jeter.
Of course, Ayala spent last year with the Yankees. Did a pretty good job out of the bullpen for the Yankees. He was used in situations where he could be effective with that sinker. And he's done a pretty good job for Baltimore in the early going.
Well, stick around after the last half of the WB Mason postgame as Bob Lorenz takes a look at all the big plays from tonight. Plus, Jack Curry talks to the players in the clubhouse. You also get Joe Girardi's reaction in the manager's report. It's the WB Mason postgame. It's only on Yes. So the Orioles trying to pick up their first victory against the Yankees this year. They're 0-4 to this point. And also Brian Mattis is trying to snap a personal 12-game losing streak. Nunez 0 for 3. Oh, strike.
So a good example of Ayala's sinker. When he keeps it down, he's got a lot of movement on that pitch. Signed by the Orioles as a free agent.
The 0-2.
Still has that motion that the Yankee fans became familiar with last year. Kind of slings the ball to home plate. That's how he gets the sinking action on his fastball.
The 1-2. Strike 3. Nunez down looking. Long night for Eduardo. 0 for 4 in that misplay in left field. Here's Ibanez pinch hitting for DJ Mitchell. Yankees lost their DH. When Chavez pinch hit for the catcher Stewart in the 7th, and the DH was already Russell Martin, the only other catcher the Yankees have. A strike from Ayala.
Last night we were talking about how the Yankee defense has been one of the strengths of the team. Tonight's error, a big one, was only their 8th of the year. They came in leading the league with the fewest errors. The Orioles had the most. But tonight, one play just turned this game around. You know, Michael, while it might be easy to fault Nunez for not making it, it's just a lack of experience.
And it was off a left-handed hitter's bat,
and
so
it's
slicing
away, and he just has no experience with that type of play.
Hey, you can't blame him.
No.
I mean, you're putting him out there and you're crossing your fingers that something like that doesn't happen. He's not an outfielder.
At least not yet.
Into the upper deck foul. Now, the Yankees like his athletic ability, and they think that he can translate into the outfield, but he doesn't work in the outfield. He does most of his work in the infield. But because of the injury to Swisher, and they're rolling the dice so they don't have to put Swisher on the DL, they decide to go with Nunez out there. Popped up. Betamete makes the play for the second inning. So Buck Showalter 1 out away from his 1,000th career victory. Buck is .999 and .958. His first victory ever was on April 7th of 1992. The Yankees beat the Red Sox 4-3 on opening day. Scott Sanderson outdueled Roger Clemens. Here's Derek Jeter, another great night. 3 hits for Jeter. There's a strike. He has average over 400 again at 404.
Four's a wild. 444 on base percentage. 4 home runs. Could he get a 4-hit night?
Done it before. 2-1.
Yeah, Buck's got a tough part of the schedule to deal with here. They've got the Yankees, an off day after this series, the Red Sox, then Texas, then Tampa Bay, and the Yankees again. And he even said, check with me after the next 2 weeks.
Grounded to short. This should do it. And a scoop by Davis, and that will do it. As the Orioles win 7-1, and Buck Showalter picks up his 1,000th victory as a manager, becoming only the 58th manager in baseball history to get to that lofty mark. Stick around for the postgame show to find out who's tonight's Chevy Player of the Game. Phil Hughes started for the Yankees, gave them 5 2/3. Wasn't great, but better than he has been. Buck Showalter, like I said, his pitcher breaks a losing streak.